At dinner, Dad raised his glass and said, "Some kids make you proud. Others just waste space." Everyone laughed, except me. I smiled and replied, "Good thing I'm moving 2,000 miles away. You'll never need to see me again." The laughter stopped instantly. My name is Kayla Richardson. I'm 25, and I learned two things at my sister's wedding rehearsal dinner. 1. White wine still burns when you swallow it with shame. And 2. Sometimes the only way to save yourself is to walk out the door while everyone's still laughing. The yacht club in Charleston smelled like old money and fresh flowers. My sister Brianna looked like she'd stepped out of Southern Living magazine. Ivory dress, perfect curls, that confident smile of someone who'd never had to prove herself. Her fiancé Cameron came from the kind of family that has buildings named after them. 3 open bars, a string quartet, napkins with their initials in gold script. If you listened past the champagne glasses clinking, you could hear privilege exhaling. I sat at the family table wedged between Mom's frozen smile and Dad's calculated silence. A few aunts and uncles kept saying they remembered me when I was just a little thing, which is polite Southern for I don't actually know you anymore. Cousin Ava asked about my job with the enthusiasm of someone asking about the weather in Nebraska. We've never been the warm, huggy type of family. We're the kind that keeps score in invisible ledgers. When I needed money for my final semester at College of Charleston, after scholarships dried up, after working 35 hours a week at the campus bookstore, after that stubborn part of me insisted I could manage alone, Dad didn't hesitate. He printed out a contract. 12% interest. 18-month repayment schedule. A clause about defaulting that read like a legal threat. "Business is business, Kayla," he'd said, sliding the papers across his mahogany desk. "This is how you learn responsibility." I signed every page while he watched, his expression somewhere between satisfaction and disappointment, like he was notarizing proof that I'd always need him. Meanwhile, Brianna flunked out of USC her sophomore year. Came home, wrecked Mom's Lexus SUV, and had a brand new Audi Q5 in the driveway before the insurance paperwork cleared. No contracts. No lectures. Just everyone makes mistakes and a welcome home dinner with her favorite shrimp and grits. That's the dynamic in our family. Nobody says it out loud, but we all keep score. I hadn't told them yet. Not about the job applications scattered across the country, not about the apartment deposits I'd been researching, not about the spreadsheet I kept hidden in a folder labeled wedding planning ideas in case Mom ever went snooping through my laptop. Inside that folder, job postings in Denver, Seattle, San Diego. A budget I'd titled First Real Breath. Notes on studio apartments far enough away that surprise visits would require actual planning. Calculations on how to disappear cleanly. I hadn't even told Jordan. We'd been together for 13 months, the kind of steady that felt like finally trusting a door to stay locked. He was finishing his MBA 3 states over, sending me photos of terrible dining hall coffee, and asking if I'd remembered to eat lunch. His ex-girlfriend Hannah still orbited around the edges of his life. Sweet, helpful, the type who volunteers to help you move and somehow mentions 5 times how she and Jordan used to do the exact same thing. I told myself she was just background noise. I tried to believe it. Dinner was winding down when Dad stood up, wine glass in hand, tapping his wedding ring against the crystal until the whole room went quiet. That particular kind of silence that feels rehearsed, like everyone knew this moment was scripted. He started the way they always do. Love and sacrifice. Pride in the bride. The foundation of a strong marriage. He smiled at Brianna and Cameron like they were his greatest achievement, proof that his parenting had worked. Then his eyes landed on me. "You know," he said, his voice carrying easily across the room with practiced authority, "some children make you proud from the moment they're born. Natural leaders. Born with drive and vision." He paused, taking a sip of wine. "And then some kids, well, they just take up space. Need constant pushing. Need reminding that the world doesn't hand out participation trophies." The words landed exactly as designed, casual enough to pass as gentle ribbing, sharp enough to draw blood. Polite laughter rippled through the guests like a wave. Brianna giggled nervously. Cameron squeezed her hand. Uncle Frank chuckled into his bourbon. Mom didn't even blink. She never wastes good expressions on things she doesn't want to acknowledge. Something inside me clicked. Not anger exactly. More like a lock finally sliding free after years of being jammed. I picked up my wine glass. Held Dad's eyes the way you hold something you're about to set down forever. Good thing I just signed a lease 2,000 miles away, I said, my voice clear enough to cut through the string quartet. Don't worry, you'll never have to watch me waste space again. The quiet that followed was the most honest sound I'd ever heard in that room. A server dropped a fork. Someone gasped. The violinist actually stopped mid-note, bow hovering in the air like she'd forgotten what song she was playing. For just 1 second, I saw something crack in Dad's face. Surprise, maybe. Or fury that I'd disrupted his carefully written script. Then nothing. The mask slid back into place, smooth as marble. They let me stand. They let me walk away. I left my heels under the table, because dignity is easier in bare feet. Outside, the May air smelled like jasmine and salt water and the particular kind of electricity that comes right before a thunderstorm decides to break. No smell of money out here. Just weather and possibility and freedom. Back in my hotel room, the adrenaline burned off and left something crystal clear and calm. No tears. No dramatic speeches to my reflection. Just the quiet mathematics of a person who'd stopped negotiating with a locked door. I opened the banking app Dad had insisted I download when he gave me the tuition loan. Transferred the final payment, $4,847.23. Every single cent I owed him, paid down to the penny. Memo line, as agreed. Paid in full. No reply came. Of course not. In our family, silence isn't absence, it's a weapon. Brianna posted to the family group chat the next morning, best night of my life. Party popper 2 hearts can't wait for Saturday. Mom responded with flower emojis and something about beautiful beginnings. The choreography of erasure was almost artistic. They treated my exit like a dropped napkin. Step over it and keep moving. Jordan texted, "How was the fancy rehearsal dinner? Did you eat real food or just decorative vegetables?" I sent him a photo of my untouched salmon and typed, "It was fine. Typical family stuff, you know." He sent back a selfie from his study desk, hair messy, wearing his old college hoodie. "Proud of you for surviving it. Miss seeing your face." I wanted to tell him everything. The toast. The transfer. The way my chest felt like it had finally remembered how to expand. But the words got stuck somewhere between my heart and my throat, waiting for a safer room to land in. I told myself I'd call him later and explain everything. I told myself a lot of things I didn't quite believe. 2 days after the rehearsal dinner, Mom tried her concerned voice, the one that wraps barbed wire in cashmere. "Kayla, sweetheart, is everything all right? Did something upset you the other night?" I kept my tone light, informative, empty of ammunition. "Work's been really busy. Sorry I haven't checked in." She pivoted smoothly, like she'd rehearsed this. "Your father didn't mean anything by what he said, you know. That's just how he shows he cares, pushing you to be your best. He's old-fashioned about affection. Push. Care. In our family dictionary, those words are listed as synonyms. We've always supported you," she continued, her voice doing that thing where it sounds warm but feels cold. "In our own way. You know that, don't you? Support. The word that always comes with a receipt attached. I know, Mom. I appreciate everything." The conversation ended with promises to call soon, to stay connected, to remember that family is forever. All the things you say when you're buying time to plan your escape. I opened my wedding planning ideas folder and added new tabs. Denver, mountains for running toward instead of running from, decent marketing scene, expensive but worth it. Seattle, rain good for blending in, tech boom means jobs, flight connections complicated enough to discourage casual visits. San Diego, sunshine therapy, creative industry growing, far enough to require commitment to visit. Austin, weird in all the right ways, cost of living reasonable, distance measured in purpose not just miles. I made detailed columns. Monthly rent estimates. Average utilities. Job market rankings. Transportation costs. How far guilt can travel when it has to cross 3 time zones. I started selling things online under a fake name. College textbooks I'd never open again. The Le Croixet Dutch oven Mom bought me, for when you settle down. The decorative throw pillows that existed only to impress visitors who never came. The blazers I'd bought to look like someone Dad might finally respect. Every sale went straight into the hidden savings account I'd opened at a different bank across town. Every passive-aggressive text from Mom, $40 into the escape fund. Every ignored phone call from Dad, $60 and a deep breath. Every family dinner invitation I declined with a polite excuse, $75 saved on gas and emotional labor. Every LinkedIn article Dad sent about building a sustainable career path, $100 and renewed determination. I turned leaving into pure mathematics, and the numbers never argued back or made me feel small. On the surface, I played the dutiful daughter perfectly. I responded to family texts within socially acceptable timeframes. I showed up to Brianna's bridal shower with a gift from the registry. I laughed at Uncle Frank's jokes that stopped being funny in 1992. But I wasn't really there anymore. I was already packing boxes in my mind, labeling each one with a word I hadn't applied to my own life in years. Mine. Brianna's actual wedding was scheduled for 7 weeks out. 7 weeks to finalize my exit strategy. 7 weeks to smile through family events, while knowing I'd already left in every way that mattered. The family group chat exploded with logistics. Mom sent color-coded seating charts. Aunt Caroline shared endless Pinterest boards. Brianna posted gym selfies with captions about getting ready for the big day. I responded with thumbs-up emojis and strategic silence. The invisible daughter. Easy to overlook. Easier to leave. 8 weeks after the rehearsal dinner, my phone rang at 11:34 p.m. Brianna. She never called me, especially not this late. I almost sent it to voicemail. But something, curiosity, maybe, or vestigial sibling instinct, made me answer. Her voice came through rough and unfamiliar, stripped of its usual confidence. Kayla? Can we talk? Not the polished Brianna from Instagram. This was something raw and unsteady. What's wrong? Cameron and we've been fighting. A lot. She took a shaky breath. He says maybe we are rushing this. That maybe it's more about our families wanting this than us actually wanting each other. A pause. I think he might be right. I sat up in bed, suddenly fully awake. You're getting married in 5 weeks. I know. That's the whole problem. I don't. Her voice cracked. Can you help me figure out what to do? 2 days later, I drove to her apartment in Mount Pleasant. The place looked half lived in, like she'd moved in but never actually unpacked her life. Wedding gifts still in their boxes. Bridal magazines scattered across the coffee table like evidence of a crime scene. Brianna looked smaller than I remembered. Still beautiful, still put together, but something in her posture had collapsed inward. I think I need to call it off, she said, staring at her manicured hands. But I don't know how. Everyone's so excited. The deposits are paid. Dad's been planning this since I was 22. We talked for 4 hours. Really talked, maybe for the first time since we were kids sharing a room. She confessed that Cameron's mother loved her more than Cameron did. That Dad had been orchestrating this wedding like a business merger. That she'd said yes to the proposal not because she wanted to marry him, but because disappointing everyone felt impossible. You were brave at the rehearsal dinner, she said quietly. Standing up to Dad like that. I should have defended you. But I've never known how to disappoint him without feeling like I'm disappearing. You think I'm not scared every single day. You don't look scared. You look free. I wanted to tell her that freedom and terror aren't opposites. That I was terrified every single day. That choosing yourself meant trading one kind of pain for another, lonelier kind. Instead I asked, so what do you actually want? I want to cancel the wedding. Tell everyone the truth. Face whatever happens. She looked at me with red-rimmed eyes. Will you be there when I do it? We drove to our parents' house together the next afternoon. The colonial in the historic district with the wraparound porch and the chandelier visible from the street. The house that had always felt more like a museum than a home. Mom answered the door with her hostess smile, all teeth and southern charm. Well, what a lovely surprise. Come in, come in. I just made lemon bars, your favorite. Dad was in his study, reading glasses perched on his nose, Wall Street Journal spread across his desk. He glanced up with practiced interest. To what do we owe the pleasure? Brianna stood in the middle of their pristine living room, the one with the white furniture we were never allowed to sit on as children, and said it straight. I'm calling off the wedding. The silence was surgical, precise, deadly. Mom's face did something complicated, like several emotions fighting for control. Dad removed his reading glasses with deliberate slowness. You're what? His voice was quiet. The dangerous kind. Cameron and I both agree. This isn't right. We're not right for each other. Do you have any idea how much money we've invested in this? Mom's voice climbed several octaves. The deposits? The invitations went out 3 weeks ago. What will the Harrisons think? What will everyone at the club say? I don't care what they say. Dad stood up, his full height suddenly imposing. You are not going to embarrass this family because you got cold feet. Absolutely not. You're going to put on that wedding dress, walk down that aisle, and figure out your feelings afterward like a mature adult. I watched Brianna start to crumble, that familiar collapse of spine we'd both learned as children, that reflex to obey. Dad, she just told you she doesn't want to marry him, I heard myself say. All three of them turned to look at me like I'd started speaking in tongues. This doesn't concern you, Kayla, Dad said, his voice sharp enough to cut. It concerns me when you're bullying her into marrying someone just to protect your reputation at the yacht club. Kayla. Mom's voice had turned to ice. That is quite enough. Is it? Because from where I'm standing, you care more about what Aunt Caroline thinks than whether your daughter is actually happy. Dad took a step closer to me, his face reddening. You've always been a troublemaker. Always stirring things up, always causing problems. Maybe if you focused on fixing your own life instead of interfering in everyone else's, you wouldn't be. Wouldn't be what? I interrupted, my voice steady. Wouldn't be leaving? Because I am. I've been planning it for months. And watching you try to control Brianna, the exact same way you've controlled me my entire life, is precisely why I need to get out. Brianna didn't cancel the wedding that afternoon. But she did move back home temporarily, and Cameron's family demanded an emergency meeting to discuss the situation. On my drive back to my apartment, I added $600 to my escape fund and opened my laptop with shaking hands. An email was waiting in my inbox. Subject line: Interview request, Senior Marketing Manager, Austin, TX, Velvet Creative Group. I read it 3 times before my brain would accept it was real. Then I clicked reply and typed, I would be honored to interview. Please let me know what times work best for your team. My hands were trembling. Not from fear this time. From the terrifying, intoxicating rush of possibility becoming real. I spent a week and a half preparing for that interview like my entire life depended on it, because it did. I researched Velvet Creative Group until I could recite their client list in my sleep. I practiced answers to every possible question. I bought a blazer that made me look like someone who had their life figured out. The morning of the interview, Mom called 6 times before I'd even finished my first cup of coffee. Each call went straight to voicemail. My stomach did its familiar nervous flip, that Pavlovian response to seeing her name on my screen. But this time, instead of answering, I turned my phone completely off. The interview was scheduled for 2 p.m. via Zoom. 3 people appeared on my screen: the creative director named Shauna, the VP of marketing named Greg, and the HR manager named Patricia. They'd actually read my portfolio. Really read it. Your campaign work for the environmental nonprofit shows real emotional intelligence, Shauna said, leaning forward with genuine interest. Walk us through your creative process on that one. For 47 minutes, I talked about brand storytelling, audience psychology, authentic messaging. They asked follow-up questions that showed they were actually listening. Real questions, not the kind designed to trip you up or prove you don't belong. The question that changed everything came from Greg near the end. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Every instinct I had screamed to give the safe answer. Something about growth and leadership and being a valuable team member. Words carefully shaped to please and not threaten. But something inside me refused to shrink anymore. In a place where my worth isn't measured by how small I can make myself, I said, my voice steady. Where my ideas are valued for their merit, not filtered through someone else's expectations. Where I'm respected for what I create, not who I'm related to or how well I follow unspoken rules. Shauna smiled, a real smile, not the polite kind. That's refreshingly honest. I appreciate honest. When the call ended, I sat in my apartment stillness, really sat in it, and felt something I hadn't felt in years. Pride. Earned, personal, undeniably mine. Then I turned my phone back on. 9 missed calls. All from Mom. The phone immediately started ringing again. I let it go to voicemail, but then I saw a text from Brianna. Call me now. Emergency. I called her back, my heart already sinking. Kayla. Brianna's voice was rushed, low, urgent. Don't come to the house. Whatever you do, don't come here. What happened? Hannah, Jordan's ex, mentioned to her mom that Jordan talked about your interview in Austin. Her mom and mom are in the same book club. Of course. Gossip is our family's native language. Mom went through your room while you were out. Found your research, your spreadsheet, all of it. She told Dad you're planning to abandon the family and humiliate them publicly. My chest tightened. I'm 27 years old. I'm allowed to move. I know that. I'm just telling you, they're furious. Like scary furious. They're waiting for you right now, doors closed, ready to have what Dad's calling a serious conversation about your choices. Don't go, Kayla. Please. After we hung up, I sat frozen on my couch, staring at my laptop. I opened my banking app and looked at the escape fund, $9,247.38. Not quite enough for a comfortable cross-country move, but enough to disappear for a while if I absolutely had to. I opened a new browser tab and searched, Austin TX studio apartments available immediately. 2 hours later, Mom sent a message to the family group chat, the one that included Brianna, me, Aunt Caroline, Uncle Frank, and cousins Ava and Tyler. Family dinner this Sunday at 6. Everyone please make sure you're there. We need to discuss some important family matters. Kayla, this especially includes you. Blue heart. Aunt Caroline responded within seconds. We'll be there. Wouldn't miss it. Heavy black heart hash. Uncle Frank. Sounds good. See everyone Sunday. Brianna sent me a private text. It's a trap. Don't go. They're planning something. I didn't respond to the group chat. Didn't decline, didn't acknowledge it. Just let it sit there, unread notification glowing accusingly on my phone. That evening, Jordan called. Your mom reached out to me today, he said carefully, his voice tense. My stomach dropped. What did she say? That she's worried about you. That you've been distant and making impulsive, uncharacteristic decisions. She asked if I knew anything about you applying to jobs in Texas. And what did you tell her? I told her that your life decisions are yours to make, and that I support whatever path leads to your happiness. He paused, and I could hear the hurt in his voice. But Kayla, why didn't you tell me about any of this? Because every single time I've shared a plan with someone, they've either tried to talk me out of it or they've told someone else who used it against me. I needed this to be mine until it was actually real. Is it real now? I'm waiting to hear back. But yes, I think it is. He was quiet for a long moment. I wish you'd trusted me enough to include me before it got to this point. It's not about trust, Jordan. It's about survival. Can you understand that? We hung up shortly after, not angry exactly, just sad in that particular way when two people realize they might want different things. Sometimes caring about someone isn't enough when you're trying to save yourself from drowning. It arrived at 3:42 p.m. on a Thursday afternoon. Subject line: Offer, Senior Marketing Manager position, Velvet Creative Group, Austin. My vision actually blurred before I could finish reading the opening line. The offer was real. $82,000 annual salary. Full benefits package including health, dental, vision. Remote work flexibility with optional office space. Start date 8 weeks out, giving me time to relocate. I forwarded the email to myself 3 times, backup insurance against dreaming or technology glitching, then stood up and paced my tiny apartment like a caged animal tasting freedom for the first time. This was it. The actual, tangible escape hatch. Proof that I could build something without their permission, without their name, without any of it. I called Jordan first. He answered on the first ring. I got it, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. The Austin job. Yes. He laughed, a genuine, warm sound that wrapped around me through the phone. Kayla, that's incredible. I'm so proud of you. You earned this. Thank you. His voice shifted slightly, a note of hurt creeping in. So, when were you planning to tell me? Before now, I mean. I'm telling you right now. I mean before you applied. Before you interviewed. Before you started planning a whole new life. I closed my eyes, leaning against my kitchen counter. I needed to make sure it was real before I let anyone else hold it. Before it could be taken away or questioned or turned into an argument about whether I was making the right choice. Anyone else? Or just your family? Anyone, I said quietly, honestly. Including you. We talked for 25 more minutes about logistics, about distance, about what this meant for us and whether there was even an us to worry about anymore. He was supportive but wounded. I was grateful but guarded, already pulling away to protect what I'd built. Before we hung up, he said something that stuck with me. Just promise me you're doing this because it's what you want, not just to escape them. I'm doing it because staying here feels like choosing to drown when there's a lifeboat right there. That's not the same thing as knowing what you're swimming toward. Maybe not. But I'd rather figure that out while breathing. Within 90 minutes of hanging up with Jordan, my phone buzzed with a text from Brianna. Mom knows about the offer. Hannah's mom heard through some Charleston Chamber of Commerce connection. Apparently she knows someone on the board of the company. Mom is absolutely losing it. Dad is worse. Please don't respond to anything they send. Please. I stared at my phone, only half surprised. The network of control and information in Charleston's upper-class circles was tighter than I'd ever fully appreciated. Everyone knew someone who knew someone. Privacy was an illusion. Then came the text from Mom. We need to discuss this job situation immediately. This has gone far enough. Call me right now. I didn't. Instead, I opened a fresh document and started making lists with surgical precision. Give 60-day notice on apartment lease. Required. Transfer all utilities to final billing. Close joint bank account with parents. Opened when I was 19. Pack only essentials. Sell or donate everything else. Ship boxes to Austin P.O. Box. Find one near new apartment. Change mailing address with post office. New phone number. They can't have this one. Update email addresses and passwords on all accounts. Remove location sharing from all apps. Block certain numbers if necessary. Each item felt like removing a chain link. Heavy work, but necessary. That Saturday afternoon, Aunt Caroline called. Her voice was dripping with that particular Southern concern that always precedes a lecture. Kayla, honey, your mother is just beside herself with worry. She's concerned you're making a rash, emotional decision out of anger. We all think it would be best if you came to Sunday dinner tomorrow so we can talk this through as a family, the way families should. I appreciate the concern, Aunt Caroline, but I'm all right. You don't sound all right, sweetie. You sound isolated and defensive. That's what happens when we push away the people who love us and want what's best for us. Love. That word again, weaponized and dressed up in Sunday clothes. I'm not pushing anyone away. I'm just making a career move. A career move. Her voice sharpened. Honey, you're running away from your family without any discussion, without any consideration for how this affects everyone else. That's not a career move, that's running away from your problems. I felt the old guilt try to surge up, that familiar voice that whispered maybe she was right, maybe I was being selfish, maybe I owed them more than this. But then I thought about Dad's toast. About the contract with interest rates for my education, while Brianna got a new car. About Mom going through my private laptop like I was a teenager instead of a grown woman. I need to go, Aunt Caroline. Thank you for calling. I hung up before she could guilt me further, before that voice could get any louder. Sunday morning arrived with grey skies that matched my mood. The kind of day that feels heavy before it even begins. My phone had been buzzing since 7 a.m. Mom. Dad, Aunt Caroline, even Cousin Tyler, who I hadn't spoken to in 2 years. And Brianna, though her messages were different. If you go to that dinner, I can't protect you from what they're planning to say and do. I looked at my half-packed suitcase in the bedroom closet. At the printed lease termination notice I'd filled out, but not yet submitted to my landlord. At the job offer acceptance letter sitting in my drafts folder, cursor blinking, waiting for me to press send. Everything was ready except the final step. I just had to jump. Then Jordan called one more time. "Hey," he said softly, and I could hear traffic in the background. "I'm not going to ask if you're going to that dinner. I'm just going to say this. You don't owe them a performance. You don't owe them an explanation. You're allowed to just live your life. They'll never forgive me for this. Maybe not. But will you forgive yourself if you stay and keep shrinking to fit their box?" After we hung up, I sat at my laptop and opened a new email. Typed carefully. To Mom, Dad subject, my decision. I won't be attending dinner today or any family events for the foreseeable future. I've accepted a position in Austin and will be relocating at the end of next month. This isn't up for discussion or debate. I'm grateful for the support you've provided over the years, but I need to build my own life on my own terms now. I hope you can eventually respect that choice. Kayla. My finger hovered over the send button for 2 full minutes, my heart pounding so hard I could hear it. Then I clicked it. The response came within 8 minutes. From Dad's email, but I could hear both their voices in every word. Subject, my decision. After everything we've sacrificed for you, after all the opportunities we've provided, this is how you repay us? By sneaking around like a teenager, making major life decisions without any family input whatsoever, and rejecting everything we've built for you? You're being incredibly selfish and short-sighted, Kayla. When this inevitably fails, and it will fail, don't expect us to bail you out or finance your next impulsive mistake. We are done enabling this behavior. You're on your own. I read it twice, felt that familiar squeeze of guilt and shame trying to take hold in my chest, trying to make me second-guess everything. Then I hit delete and blocked both their email addresses. My phone immediately started ringing. Dad's number. I sent it to voicemail and blocked that too. Then Mom's number. Blocked. The house phone number I'd grown up with. Blocked. Each one felt like cutting a cord I'd been tangled in my entire life. Brianna called within minutes of the email sending. "Oh my God, Kayla," she breathed. "They are absolutely freaking out. Mom is crying. Dad is. I've never seen him like this. He's saying you've made the biggest mistake of your life, that you'll regret this, that you'll come crawling back within 6 months. Do you think I'm making a mistake?" She was quiet for several long seconds. "No. I think you're doing what I don't have the courage to do yet." "What do you mean?" "I called off the wedding. For real this time. Yesterday. Told Cameron, told his parents, told Mom and Dad this morning right before you sent that email. That's part of why they're so angry. They're losing control of both of us in the same weekend." "Brianna. Don't apologize. You didn't cause this. You showed me it was possible to say no. To choose myself. I watched you do it and something clicked." We talked for over an hour after that. About her plans to move into her own place downtown. About how Mom had cried that the family was falling apart. About how Dad had said both his daughters were throwing their lives away. "She keeps saying we are abandoning them," Brianna said softly. "That we are choosing strangers over family, over blood. We are not choosing strangers. We are just finally choosing ourselves." After we hung up, I felt something fundamental shift inside me. Not relief exactly, more like the absence of a weight I'd been carrying for so long I'd forgotten it wasn't part of my actual body. I pulled my suitcase out of the closet and started packing for real this time. Not hiding, not planning in secret, not pretending I might change my mind. Just packing to leave. 2 days before my planned departure date, Jordan drove down from his MBA program to see me one final time. We sat in my nearly empty apartment, Chinese takeout containers scattered between us on the floor, and finally talked about everything we'd been avoiding for months. "I could request a transfer," he said, studying the wall instead of my face. "There are good MBA programs in Texas. UT Austin, Rice in Houston. It's only a few hours' drive." "Please don't do that." "Why not?" "Because I need to know I can stand on my own first. Without my family's approval, without their money, without their name, and without." I hesitated. without building my entire new life around someone else immediately. I need to know who I am when nobody's watching. He looked hurt but nodded slowly. I get it. I don't like it, but I understand. This isn't me ending us. It's me learning how to be a whole person first. What if I want to be part of that process? Then visit me. Call me. Text me. But don't follow me. Not yet. Let me find my footing first.